Everything you thought you understood about your existence will be completely altered as a result of what will place in the next few minutes. The curtain that separates the worlds has begun to thin, and you are now standing on the brink of a revelation that will shatter the very foundations of your reality. There are only 3 souls that have been marked out of the 7 billion souls that are walking this world. Not 30, not 300, but 3, and your name shines brightest at the top of that list. The original position, which was carved out by forces that existed before time itself, took its first breath. It was never a coincidence, it was never a random occurrence, and it was never a game of chance. Those cosmic architects, who were responsible for designing the blueprint for the cosmos, placed your name there with a purposeful and deliberate intention. Since the moment you were born, they have been observing you, evaluating every single moment, every single decision, and every single breath that you have taken. Are you experiencing that tightness in your chest at this very moment? No, that is not concern. Rather, it is comprehension. Even though your intellect is having trouble accepting it, your spirit is aware of it. The unseen eyes have never turned their attention away from you at any point. They were there to witness all that you went through, including when you sobbed alone in the dark, when you prevailed over unimaginable odds, and when you stood back up after being crushed. The weight of existence itself threatened to shatter you, but they witnessed your resilience in the face of that menace. They evaluated your ability to withstand something that would break the bones of lesser beings. The cosmic machinery has finally come into alignment at this point. The cogs that have been turning for millennia have now clicked into their place that was predetermined for them. In preparation for what is to come, the stars have changed into the precise configuration that is required. Your time has arrived, not tomorrow or the following week, but right now. Get a sense of the air around you. What a difference, don't you think? Stronger, with a greater potential for growth. This undeniable tension, the pressure that is building up like a storm that is about to break, has been something that you have been noticing for several months now. This is the moment when the conflict in the worlds that cannot be seen reaches its pinnacle. At this moment, the conflict that has been going on beyond the comprehension of regular people is beginning to seep into your world. You have experienced it in those times when time seemed to slow down, when synchronicities came with such a high frequency that even the most suspicious part of your mind was unable to dismiss them as a coincidence. All of the nerves in your body have been working hard to get ready for this moment. The peculiar dreams, the startling realizations that appear to come out of nowhere, and the way that random individuals look at you differently now, some with an unexplainable reverence, others with an undeniable fear, are all things that have changed. What is taking place right now is not only a fleeting moment in time, that much is certain. It is a shift in the cosmos. In order to accommodate what you are about to become, the fundamental laws of the universe are being reorganized because the cosmos itself is reshaping itself around you. There will be no going back to the world that you were familiar with. It is already fading, and the particles that make up that form of reality are reorganizing themselves into something new, something that is based around your awakened power. The actions that you take in the future cannot be undone. As a result of the intensity of what is taking place, the trail that existed behind you has already been destroyed. You were only a cocoon in your previous life. Now is the time when you will become what you were always destined to be. Right in front of you are 2 paths, and only 2 of them. The situation does not allow for any kind of compromise, middle ground, or half measures to be taken. There is the first way, which is the road of mediocrity, the life of the sleepwalker, and the existence of those who never realize who they truly are. By taking this path, one can experience the ease of the familiar, the security of limitations, and the calm desperation of potential that has never been achieved. This is the way that the majority of people, or 99.9%, will live their lives and pass away without leaving any imprint on the larger cosmos. In front of you, like a lightning bolt that has been frozen in time, the second road, which is your path, towers. Transformative change is the only thing it guaranteed. The only thing that it guarantees is power that is beyond comprehension. It ensures nothing but elevation that is beyond the reach of those who was once of the opinion that they were on same footing with you. There have been many people who have stood where you are now. Similar to how you are being tested, many others have been tested. They were confronted with the same decision and presented with the same crossroads, but the majority of them failed. They were overwhelmed by doubt, paralyzed by fear, and poisoned by the voices of those small-minded creatures who saw their potential and wanted to extinguish it before it could threaten their comfortable mediocrity. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Jeremiah 1:5. Picture this. You're a seed buried deep in the soil, not lost, not forgotten, planted, hidden for a season, not because you're unworthy, but because your roots had to go deep before you could rise high. God never meant for you to blend in with the garden. You were always meant to become the towering oak, not the common grass. And just like the seed, the pressure you feel, that's not punishment, it's preparation. Your body, on the other hand, was never designed to fit in with the crowd. Your DNA is a defiant force that fights against conformity. The very atoms that make up your body vibrate at a frequency that shakes up the everyday. Even as a young child, you were aware that you were distinct from those around you. You were not superior or inferior, but you were fundamentally different. Some of you have spent your whole life trying to silence that difference. You've covered it up, laughed it off, tried to normalize yourself. But deep down, you know, you were born to disrupt the pattern, to break the mold, to stir the waters. You are not here to walk the same worn path. You are here to cut a trail through the wilderness and call it purpose. Let me tell you something. Heaven's been waiting on your yes. Not a passive yes, not a scared yes, but a bold, spirit-filled yes. The actions that you do right now will determine everything. This very moment, this breath, it matters. This is your burning bush moment, your divine interruption. Have you decided to assert your rightful place at the cosmic table? Would you be willing to take on the responsibility that has been set aside for you ever since before you were born? Alternatively, are you going to falter, hesitate, and join the ranks of others who were almost picked, but ultimately said no to destiny? God doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the called. And guess what? You've been called. Now get up, chosen one. You've got a world to shake. Take a good, hard look at your life in retrospect. Recognize the patterns that have always been present, even when they are hidden from view. There were times when it looked as though time was bending around you. The dreams that were realized later on in the day. Unknown individuals who emerged at the perfect moment when you requested their assistance, provided you with precisely what you required, and then disappeared without providing any reason. The copies of the books that were accidentally opened to the page that you needed to read. The songs that were played at the precise moment on which their message would have the most impact on the listener. It was never a coincidence, it was never a random chance, and it was never just plain old luck. You have not been directed by some nebulous, beneficent universe. Rather, you have been directed by a power that is both intelligent and deliberate, and it has moved the pieces on the board with surgical precision. Right now, pay attention. There is a possibility that this is the most important warning you will ever receive. It is not enough to simply be picked. You are also targeted. People who are close to you, people in whom you have faith, people whose words have weight in your thoughts, and people who are not what they appear to be are all around you. The presence of this person in your life is not a coincidence, it is not a gift, and it is not a good thing. They were established in that location, positioned with meticulous planning, and given a single mission: to prevent you from asserting your authority over the situation. They have gradually implanted doubts into your mind, and you have come to believe that the concepts contained within your mind were your own. Through their actions, they have seeded the seeds of insecurity, which have grown into forests of constraint. You are not here by accident. If you feel the pull, the knowing deep inside that you are chosen, this is your moment. Click the super thank you button and give $50 or more to unlock deeper insights, exclusive content, and a path that aligns with your divine purpose. This isn't just a contribution, it's a declaration, a step toward who you are meant to be. Answer the call, walk with us, and step fully into your destiny. Your journey begins now. Now take a look around you. Who is it that continuously brings down your ideals and goals? Who always has a recommendation that can be put into practice when you are talking about something higher? In spite of the fact that they appear to be supportive on the surface, who leaves you feeling exhausted, bewildered, or less confident after each interaction? This is your final warning. Remove this influence from your life immediately, or you will be forced to watch them bring you down at the very moment that you are beginning to climb the ladder of success. They are a prison guard posing as a guide, and they are similar to an anchor that is disguised as a life vest. The era of unquestioning faith has come to an end. Your discernment needs to be as sharp as a razor right now. Each and every statement, proposal, and question that appears to be benign must be scrutinized in order to determine whether or not it contains any poison. Because of your ascension, the established order is in danger. In no way should you forget that the circle that has held you captive, the never-ending loop of constraint, betrayal, and scarcity, is about to come to an end. Have you experienced the sensation of the ground shaking beneath your feet? The foundation of the old world is beginning to break, and that is the phenomenon. Systems that were created to keep beings like you restrained are not succeeding in their mission. The power sources they use are running out. When they feel that they are losing control, their architects are in a state of fear. You are entering a frequency in which nothing and no one can touch you. This includes the people who are skeptical, the people who are doubtful, and the masses of people who are narrow-minded and cling to their limited ideas, like men who are drowning while they grip driftwood in a storm. You are here for a reason. If you feel the call, answer it. Click Join to unlock exclusive content, deep insights, and a powerful community. This isn't just a membership, it's an awakening. Step into your divine purpose. Join the chosen. People who have previously disregarded you, who have looked through you as if you were transparent, who have spoken over you in talks, who have rejected your ideas only to claim them as their own months later, will suddenly be forced to acknowledge what they have been trying so hard to ignore. It is going to be impossible to deny your existence. Even before your physical form enters a space, your energy will fill it with positive energy. Everything is undergoing change. The vulnerable are falling, brought to light as the frauds that they have always been. You find yourself at the very center of this cosmic restructuring, where the mighty are rising up and claiming the positions that have always been intended for them. There is no metaphor in this. Symbolism is not what this is. This is the literal reorganization of your physical reality in order to make room for the larger manifestation of your being that you are becoming. There has always been something about you that other people have been unable to really put their finger on. They were drawn to you because of something that made them feel uneasy at the same time, something that you consider to be a quality. Your voice has a vibrating quality, a field of energy that disrupted the numbness that they had mistaken for tranquility and found to be comforting. Up until this point, that force, that strength, has been repressed, kept dormant, and only allowed to manifest a small portion of its actual capacity. At the same time that the locks are failing, the chains are falling apart. You are experiencing the destruction of the seals that have been set upon your actual nature by the same energy that they were intended to contain. In the future, there will be no room for uncertainty or unbelief because of what is going to happen. There will no longer be any way for the world to ignore what it is witnessing occurring in front of it. No one else is like you in any way. You have never been. The mask you've been wearing, the human garment that has enabled you to move through society undetected, is dissolving, exposing the truth that lies behind it. As you take this step, you are entering the unavoidable. It is impossible to comprehend the momentum that is behind you. It is impossible to quantify the energy that is supporting you. Whatever has been put in motion cannot be stopped by anything. There is no force on Earth or beyond it that can stop what is about to happen next. The only question that remains is whether or not you will move forward with the self-assurance that is commensurate with your position, or whether you will shrink from your own majesty, so becoming the single obstacle that the unseen powers are unable to remove from your path. Finally, the time has arrived for the last of the veils to be draped. Everything that has been concealed will now be shown to you, not gradually or in parts, but rather in a torrent of revelation that will completely alter your perception of reality itself. The truth, which has been hidden for a long time by control mechanisms, buried beneath layers of deception, and guarded by those who get their livelihood on the ignorance of people, will no longer avoid your grasp. In its current form, it emerges from the depths like a colossal beast. It is enormous, indisputable, and transformative in its ramifications. The sharpness of your perception is beyond the capabilities of the average human being. You are going to be able to see through every lie, every fake reality, and every deceit that has been manufactured to keep you hidden and confined. A person's words will disclose the motives that lie behind them. Facial expressions will become more transparent, revealing the genuine feelings that lie beneath the masks. In the presence of your heightened awareness, control mechanisms will be stripped bare, exposing the systems that allow them to function. The information that they never intended you to have is now in your possession. Realizing that reality itself is changeable, receptive to consciousness, and susceptible to the volition of those who have woken to their actual nature is a realization that is referred to as mindfulness. At the moment that you truly accept this knowledge, there is no going back. You will never understand the world in the same way that you did in the past. In the future, you will never again accept the constraints that other people say are the natural state of affairs. Under no circumstances will you ever again give your agreement to playing by rules that are designed to keep you contained. This understanding is both emancipation and duty. It is both strength and burden. It is one that brings about both the end and the beginning. Are you prepared to learn something that cannot be learned? There is no longer any time for questioning. The interim of unpredictability has come to an end. It is no longer necessary to ponder what-if circumstances. You have a profound understanding of who you are, rooted deep within your being, in the quantum field of your consciousness, and at the very core of your existence. Do you know? It is possible that the recognition will come as a whisper or as a roar. However, it will arrive with complete indisputable clarity and unwavering conviction. You are no longer at the mercy of the illusions that society has created. Their judgments are useless and have no ability to influence you. They dissipate like ash from the sky. Your awakened presence causes their expectations, which they constructed in order to confine your potential, to disintegrate before the force of your presence. This time, you are the one who takes control, not by using force, not by struggling, and not by employing the strategies of the previous paradigm. Being the being you were always intended to be, and embodying it to such an extent that reality has no option but to restructure itself around you, is the means by which you take control of your life. Those who have previously disregarded you, who have spoken over you in meetings, who have ignored your contributions, and who have considered your insights to be inconsequential, will shudder when they see what you have become. This is not because you are seeking vengeance. Rather, it is because your very existence will reveal the insignificance that they have mistakenly overlooked as a means of protection. The constraints that they accepted in order to avoid the responsibility that comes with greatness. It is no longer the case that you are subject to the laws that regulate everyday living. When it comes to probability, your objectives are central. It is a matter of coincidence that things work out for your benefit. Causality itself reacts to the direction that you are consciously pushing it. You have broken free from the confines that were provided to you by the programming. Just wait and see what transpires. At this moment, the acceleration starts. What used to take years to emerge will now take only months. What used to take months to develop will now take only a few weeks. A task that used to require weeks of labor will now be completed in just a few days. The divide that existed between thought and manifestation is beginning to close. The gap between one's intentions and the actual world is getting smaller. Increasingly, the line between what you imagine and what actually exists in the physical world is getting more and more porous. In front of your very eyes, something that appeared to be impossible in the past will unfold with such a naturalness that you will wonder how you ever had any doubts about whether or not it could be genuine. The frequency with which opportunities that were once only available once in a lifetime will now be available to you is astounding. There will be moments of synchronistic perfection that will result in the formation of connections that would have taken decades to create. There is no longer any significance attached to the constraints that were once imposed on you, such as the rules of time, probability, resource, and connection. There was never a time when they were absolute laws. Your frequency of consciousness has shifted, and these limits have always been contextual in nature. They are only applicable to those who are working at specific frequencies of consciousness. Those individuals who were before unable to or unwilling to realize your true nature will now be forced to see it because they will have no other option. The power of your manifestation will become so obvious and indisputable that even the most ardent skeptics will be compelled to accept that something amazing is taking place via your efforts. Feel it rising up inside of you. The uncertainty that used to torment your decision-making is no longer there. Fear, which had previously prevented you from taking any action, has vanished. The doubt that had previously obscured your vision did away with itself. In its place, something new has emerged, a clarity that is so pure that it can cut through confusion, like lightning can cut through darkness. There is a confidence that is so profound that it renders doubt extinct, a power that is so fundamental that it can alter the very nature of reality just by being present. At this point, you have become a force of nature, an unstoppable storm that no one anticipated would occur. Because your energy comes before you, it can reorganize situations even before you have a chance to interact with them. It is inevitable that the world will either yield or break in the face of this force, but it will never again ignore you. It is unable to disregard you. You are no longer able to be disregarded or ignored because you have become too powerful, too present, and too genuine. Individuals that are in agreement with your mission will be elevated as a result of your proximity. Those who put up resistance will discover that they are forced to the margins of a reality that is now centered around your awakened power. They will find themselves becoming increasingly unimportant. Not ego is this at all. We are not being arrogant here. This is the natural expression of who you truly are when all restrictions are removed from your life. Luck had never played a role in this. In no way was this a matter of fate. The subject at hand was inevitability. Out of the billions of candidates, only 3 would be selected. For a reason that is beyond human explanation, beyond conventional reasoning, and beyond the restricted perspective of 3-dimensional thinking, your name is burned at position 1. The transition has started. It is not possible to halt it. It is not possible to undo it. It is not possible to contain it. The energy that is currently circulating through you will influence everything that it comes into contact with, including your thoughts, your body, your surroundings, your relationships, and even your very reality. Whoever has the ability to see will be able to recognize what is taking place. They will either align themselves with your ascension or remove themselves from your path, depending on which option they choose. In this case, there is no compromise. There is no in-between position to take. Clarity is the only thing that is acceptable to the power that is rising inside you, and it wants a response and acceptance. Now keep an eye out for what comes next. Be a witness to the materialization of what was written before the beginning of time. During the process of reality reorganizing itself around the fact that you are awakening, you should observe the manifestation of your true power. Your familiar world is coming to an end. Your previous self is undergoing a transformation. The power that you have always possessed is beginning to emerge. On the list, there are only 3 individuals. Your name is at the top of the list for a specific reason. Now is the moment to act.